Hello everyone, nice to see you again. So many of you have asked me to expand a little more on the etiquette and tasting of whiskey. So what I have in front of me are 3 Glencairn glasses that I have poured some whiskey into them. The first one is neat, the second glass is neat, and the third I have some ice. Now there are several options for you in order to try, and the first one would be neat. The second one, I bought this what I call the whiskey diluting dropper from this particular distillery when I was training in Scotland. I find it particularly useful, and you would take this pipette, the dropper, put your finger here, and you would get some water. So, a few drops, magnificent, and it's all done. Now, let's get to the actual tasting part, shall we? There are those that say you should absolutely drink it neat. There are those that say you should add a drop of water, which I've just done. And there's a third school that says, well, you should add ice, which I've done here. Which one is correct? You want to know the secret? It's what you like. Not what somebody else likes, but what you like. That's important, because you are the one that's enjoying it. Now, what I'd like to say to you is, are there certain rules of etiquette? Absolutely. And one of those that I subscribe to is whenever I'm poured a glass of whiskey to try, I will pick it up. I'm not going to swirl it, because whenever I swirl it, I'm going to allow all that alcohol, all the vapors to come out, and I am going to be smelling 40% alcohol by volume, because that's the alcohol by volume that whiskey will have at a minimum. So going like this, nosing it, you just get this huge, huge rush of alcohol vapors, and you're not going to have any of those lovely, light or heavy notes that whiskey purists hungrily search for. Now, that's the nosing. Now, when you're actually going to taste it yourself, you do not take a large amount into your mouth, and like wine, you're not going to swish it, because all that's going to do is numb the inner mucous membrane of your mouth with the alcohol. You will feel absolutely nothing. My recommendation to you is take a small amount, quarter teaspoon, and place it in the sort of center and cup of your tongue, and then just chew, chew, chew away until you get the salivation coming from the back here, from your mouth, and it will intermingle with the whiskey. And when you feel you have enough fluid, swallow. And you will find that the tastes not only are lengthened, but they are more deliberate, and they give you that intense pleasure. So I will demonstrate for you. I pick up the glass. Note, I don't swirl. I nose it. I appreciate it. I'm now going to take a small sip. And if you try that, you will find it does not burn as vigorously or as harshly as you might if you were just to take your drink, your whiskey, and just to swallow it. I would suggest you do that, and you will find a totally different appreciation. So that's the one way of how to taste whiskey. Now, that is without water. That's pure. Now I'm going to try it with a few drops, and immediately you will notice a difference in the aroma. This is something that I would recommend that you do. And then, of course, with ice, clearly there's a dilution of aroma with all three. The strongest, the medium, and the lightest. So when you're at home, take this exercise and try yourself and see what you like, because that's the most important when it comes to tasting whiskey, with, without, or with ice. Now, here's a couple of secrets I wanted to share with you. If you are going to decide to put ice cubes in, it's best to use perhaps larger ice cubes as opposed to smaller ice cubes. And why is that? Well, larger ice cubes tend to melt somewhat slower as opposed to smaller ice cubes, and therefore it doesn't dilute your whiskey as quickly and allows that fading of the flavors. So that's with ice cubes. With the etiquette aspect of whiskey is when should you add ice, when should you add water, and when should you not. In my experience, when I've traveled to Scotland, to Glasgow, and I think the Glaswegians are a lovely group of individuals that truly enjoy their whiskey. What I found was that always ask the bartender, because sometimes they have those little gems right behind the counter, or it's hidden. And it's quite common in Scotland to find these whiskey bars that have hundreds of whiskey bottles. It's obviously very hard for you to decide which one. And there's no point going to a whiskey bar and choosing one that you have at home. Be adventurous. Go out. Try something that you've never tried before. That's what life and living is all about. So coming back to the whiskey, the etiquette is ask, first of all, the barman if he has something special. And if they don't, and someone offers you, second point, someone offers you a particular whiskey, and if it is a rather aged whiskey and it is quite unique, I would not add water or ice until I've tried it neat. So try it neat first, and then if you really want to, you could try adding the water and the ice. And it's polite to ask the person who's buying you the drink to say, would you mind if I just added some water or ice, because I prefer it that way. I think if by doing that, you will have a great experience all across the world. So drink responsibly. Cheers to you. I hope you've liked the video, and if you have, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel.